Commander Thane stared at his scanner display with growing concern. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago, but he barely noticed. Something was wrong with the readings from the outer edge of their star system. The massive monitoring station, called Vigilance, had been his home for 3 years, and he knew every beep and flash of its sensors better than his own heartbeat. "Reeve, come look at this," he called to his tactical officer. The young Corlin female hurried over, her blue skin showing the pale marks of worry that appeared when their kind felt stress. "What do you make of these energy readings?" Reeve studied the display for several minutes, her 4 eyes moving in the complex pattern that meant deep thought. "Sir, I have never seen anything like this. The signature is massive, but it does not match any known ship class in our database. It is bigger than our largest battlecruiser, but the energy output is off our measurement scale." Thane felt a chill run through his spine. In his 40 years of service to the Galactic Council, he had seen many strange things in the void between stars. Pirates with stolen military hardware, experimental ships from the tech-loving Nexari, even the occasional ancient derelict drifting through space. But this was different. This felt dangerous. "Nova, try to get a better scan of whatever that thing is," he ordered his communications specialist. The small, quick-moving officer nodded and began working at her console, her 6 arms dancing across the controls with practiced ease. The main viewer flickered to life, showing the star field where their sensors had detected the anomaly. At first, there was nothing visible except the usual scatter of distant stars. Then Nova adjusted the filters, and suddenly there it was. The ship was enormous, easily 3 times the size of their largest warship. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, with angular lines that spoke of pure function over beauty. There were no smooth curves or decorative elements like the ships of the peaceful council races. This vessel looked like it had been built for one purpose only: war. "By the void," whispered Reeve, her voice barely audible. "Look at the weapon ports. I count at least 50 heavy gun positions, and those are just the ones we can see." Thane nodded grimly. The ship's design was unlike anything in their records. Where council vessels were built for exploration, trade, and defense, this monster seemed designed for conquest. Its armor plating was thick enough to stop their most powerful weapons, and the reactor signatures suggested it could power a small city. "Sir," Nova called out, her voice tight with worry, "I'm trying to scan the ship's interior, but something is wrong. Our probes are being absorbed or deflected. It is like the hull is eating our scanner beams." That was impossible. Even the most advanced stealth technology could not completely block their deep space sensors. But as Thane watched, their scanning attempts simply vanished when they touched the strange ship's hull. No reflection, no interference pattern, nothing. It was as if the vessel existed in a bubble of space where their technology simply stopped. "Working, what about the crew?" Thane asked. "Can you detect any life signs?" Nova worked frantically at her console, trying every scanning frequency she knew. "There is something inside, but I cannot get clear readings. The biosignatures are strange, unlike any race in our database. They seem to be carbon-based, but the patterns are all wrong." Thane felt his stomach drop. Unknown aliens with technology that made their own look like toys? This was every military commander's worst nightmare. "Send an emergency message to Council Headquarters. Tell them we have a potential first contact situation with an unknown species. Mark it Priority Alpha." "Sir, should we try to communicate with them?" Nova asked. "Absolutely not," Thane replied quickly. "We have no idea what their intentions are, and that ship could destroy our entire station without breaking stride. We observe and report, nothing more." As they watched, the mysterious vessel continued its slow progress through their system. It was not heading for any of their planets or stations, but seemed to be following some kind of search pattern. Every few hours, it would stop and emit powerful scanning beams toward different star systems, as if looking for something specific. "What do you think they want?" Reeve asked quietly. Thane studied the alien ship's movements. "I do not know, but I do not think they are here by accident. That scanning pattern suggests they are searching for something. The question is what? The bridge fell silent except for the soft hum of their equipment. Everyone was thinking the same thing, but no one wanted to say it out loud. The unknown ship was searching for habitable worlds, for signs of intelligent life, for targets. "Sir," Nova said suddenly, "I am detecting more energy signatures. Smaller ones, but still significant. I think there are more ships coming." Thane's blood ran cold. "How many? I cannot tell for certain, but at least 3 more vessels. They are still too far away to get clear readings, but they are definitely heading this way." The commander closed his eyes and tried to think. A single ship of unknown design was one thing. A fleet was something else entirely. If these aliens were hostile, the Council was in serious trouble. Their combined fleets might be able to stop one ship, but a whole armada of vessels with superior technology would be unstoppable. "Reeve, I want you to calculate firing solutions for all our weapons. If they make any aggressive move toward our station or the inhabited worlds, we need to be ready to fight." "Sir, our weapons would barely scratch the paint on that hull," she protested. "I know, but we have to try. It is our duty to protect the people of this system, even if it costs us our lives." As the hours passed, the alien ship continued its methodical search of their space. It showed no interest in their station or the populated worlds, but its very presence was a threat. Thane found himself studying every detail of the vessel, trying to understand its builders. The ship's design spoke of a race that expected conflict. Every line of its hull was built for battle, every system designed for maximum combat effectiveness. These were not peaceful explorers or traders. These were warriors, and they had come to Council space in a ship that could destroy worlds. "Sir," Nova said softly, "what if they are not here to invade? What if they are just passing through?" Thane wanted to believe that, but 40 years of military experience had taught him to prepare for the worst. "Then we will be very relieved when they leave, but until then we treat them as a potential threat." The alien Dreadnought continued its silent journey through their space, carrying secrets and intentions that no one could guess. All they could do was watch and wait, and hope that when first contact finally came, it would not mean the end of everything they had built. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been called within hours of receiving Commander Thane's report. Chancellor Voss, the elderly leader of the peaceful Nexari, stood before the great assembly hall where representatives from dozens of worlds had gathered. His usually calm demeanor showed cracks of worry as he activated the massive holographic display. "Fellow beings of the Council," he began, his voice carrying the weight of his years, "we face a situation unlike any in our recorded history. An unknown vessel of incredible power has entered our space, and we know nothing of its intentions or its builders." The hologram showed the dark, angular ship that had been detected by the monitoring station. Gasps and worried murmurs filled the chamber as the assembled representatives saw the massive warship for the first time. Its brutal design sent chills through beings who had known only peace for generations. "The vessel is 3 times larger than our biggest battlecruiser," Voss continued. "Its weapon systems appear to be beyond our current technology, and our attempts to scan it have been largely unsuccessful. We must assume that its builders are at least as advanced as we are, possibly much more so." In the intelligence section of the Council building, Officer Petro worked frantically to gather any information about the mysterious ship. Her small office was filled with star charts, technical readouts, and analysis reports. As the Council's best investigator, she had been given the task of finding out where the ship had come from and what its people might want. "Computer, show me the vessel's approach trajectory," she said to her workstation. The display lit up with a 3-dimensional map of local space, showing a red line that marked the ship's path. It had come from a region that the Council had barely explored, a sector filled with young, unstable stars that made travel dangerous. Why would anyone build a civilization in such a hostile area? She wondered aloud. The region was filled with radiation, solar flares, and gravitational anomalies. That made it nearly impossible to support life. Yet something had not only survived there but had built ships that made Council technology look primitive. Meanwhile, far from the Council's worried discussions, Captain Ross stood on the bridge of the human dreadnought called Retribution. He was a tall man with graying hair and eyes that had seen too many battles during Earth's final wars. The ship around him represented humanity's greatest achievement, their first vessel capable of traveling between the stars. "Dale, how are our engines holding up?" he asked his chief engineer. The stocky man looked up from his console with a satisfied smile. "Running perfectly, Captain. The new fusion drives are performing better than expected. We should be able to maintain this speed for months without any problems." Ross nodded and turned to his science officer. "Emma, what did you find in the last system we scanned?" The young woman shook her head. "Nothing, sir. No habitable planets, no signs of intelligent life. Just some interesting mineral deposits on the outer worlds, but nothing that would justify a colony." "Keep searching," Ross said. "Earth is counting on us to find new worlds for humanity to expand to. We cannot return empty-handed." The captain did not know that his ship was being watched by terrified aliens who saw it as a weapon of conquest. To him, the Retribution was simply a tool for exploration, built heavily because they had no idea what dangers might exist between the stars. Earth's history of constant warfare had taught humanity to be prepared for anything. Back on the Council world of Nexer, Dr. Kane studied the alien ship's design with growing alarm. As the Council's leading expert on xenobiology and alien psychology, she had been asked to determine what kind of beings could have built such a vessel. "The ship's design philosophy is completely foreign to us," she reported to a gathering of military leaders. "Every aspect of its construction speaks of a race that expects conflict. The armor plating is designed to withstand massive weapons fire. The hull shape is optimized for battle, and the weapon systems appear to be built for planetary bombardment." Admiral Knox, the Council's top military commander, studied the technical analysis with growing concern. "Doctor, in your opinion, what kind of civilization builds ships like this?" Dr. Kane was quiet for a moment, choosing her words carefully. "Admiral, I believe we are dealing with a species that has never known peace. Everything about this vessel suggests its builders view the galaxy as a hostile place where only the strongest survive. They have built this ship not just for defense, but for conquest." The implications were terrifying. If these aliens were as aggressive as their ship suggested, the Council's peaceful worlds would be defenseless. Their own vessels were designed for exploration, trade, and scientific research. They had weapons, but nothing that could match the firepower of the alien dreadnought. "Sir," said Colonel Webb, Knox's aide, "what if this is just a scout ship? What if their main fleet is even larger?" The question hung in the air like a death sentence. If the massive warship was just the beginning, if it was followed by dozens or hundreds of similar vessels, the Council's civilization would be doomed. On the Retribution, Captain Ross was completely unaware of the fear his ship was causing. He stood in the observation deck, looking out at the stars and thinking about Earth. His home planet had finally achieved peace after centuries of warfare, and now they were reaching out to the stars with hope and curiosity. "Captain," came a voice from behind him. He turned to see Lieutenant Commander Hayes, his second in command. "We are approaching another star system. Should we begin our standard survey pattern?" "Yes, proceed with the scan," Ross replied. "And Hayes, make sure we record everything. If there is intelligent life out here, we want to make a good first impression." The irony was lost on him. His ship, designed to protect humanity from unknown threats, was being seen as the greatest threat the galaxy had ever faced. The very precautions that made the Retribution so formidable were being interpreted as signs of aggression by the aliens. Watching from afar, back in the council chambers, the debate continued. Some representatives argued for immediate military preparation, while others insisted on attempting peaceful contact. The fear was growing that they were facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. "We must consider the possibility that they are not here for conquest," argued Representative Dorn of the peaceful Altarian colonies. Perhaps they are simply exploring as we do, exploring with a ship that could destroy our entire fleet? Countered Admiral Knox. No peaceful species builds weapons like that. Chancellor Voss raised his hand for silence. We will continue to monitor the situation. If they make any aggressive moves, we will be ready to defend ourselves. If they attempt to communicate, we will try to establish peaceful contact. But we must be prepared for the worst. As the debate continued, the human ship moved deeper into Council space, its crew completely unaware that their peaceful mission of exploration was being seen as the first move in an invasion that could destroy an entire civilization. The Council's fear grew with each passing day as more ships arrived to observe the mysterious human vessel. What had started as a single monitoring station had become a small fleet of observers, all maintaining a respectful distance from the alien Dreadnought. The reports flowing back to headquarters painted an increasingly terrifying picture. Commander Thane had been joined by 3 other ships, each carrying the Council's best sensors and most experienced crews. Captain Wells of the science vessel Discovery had been studying the alien ship's movements for 2 days, and his conclusions were deeply disturbing. The pattern is clear, he reported during the daily briefing. The vessel is not moving randomly through our space. It follows a deliberate search pattern, scanning each star system methodically before moving to the next. This is not exploration, this is reconnaissance. Dr. Kane listened to the reports from her laboratory on Nexer, her 4 arms working frantically to analyze every piece of data. The alien ship's behavior suggested intelligence and purpose, but the kind of purpose that made her scales crawl with fear. Computer, analyze the scanning pattern and predict the vessel's next destination, she commanded. The display showed a 3-dimensional map of local space with the ship's past movements marked in red. A blue line appeared showing the projected path. Oh no, she whispered. The ship was heading directly toward the heart of Council space, toward the heavily populated systems that contained billions of innocent beings. If her calculations were correct, it would reach the core worlds within a standard month. On the bridge of the Retribution, Captain Ross studied the latest reports from his science team. They had been traveling for weeks now, systematically scanning each star system they encountered. So far, they had found no signs of intelligent life, but plenty of interesting worlds that might support human colonies. Emma, what did you find in the Kepler system? He asked his science officer. 3 potentially habitable worlds, Captain, she replied with excitement. One of them shows signs of a complex ecosystem. No intelligent life, but it could support human settlements with minimal terraforming, Ross smiled. This was exactly what they had hoped to find. New worlds where humanity could spread and grow. Places where Earth's children could build better lives than the war-torn planet they had left behind. Excellent work. Make sure you get detailed scans of all 3 worlds. The captain had no idea that his ship's scanning beams were being interpreted as targeting systems by the terrified aliens watching from afar. Every time the Retribution examined a new world, the Council observers saw it as a potential target being selected for conquest. Sir, said Lieutenant Commander Hayes, we are detecting some unusual energy signatures in the next system. They appear to be artificial, possibly technological in origin. Ross felt his heart skip a beat. After weeks of searching, had they finally found signs of intelligent life? Take us in slowly. If there are other beings out there, we want to make a good first impression. The massive human ship changed course, heading toward what the Council called the Nexus system. It was home to one of their most important research stations and several billion peaceful beings. To the watching aliens, it looked like the invasion was about to begin. Emergency alarms sounded throughout the Council fleet as they watched the alien Dreadnought alter its course. Commander Thane felt his blood turn to ice as he realized where the ship was heading. All ships, maintain observation distance but prepare for combat, he ordered. If that thing makes any aggressive move toward the Nexus station, we attack immediately. The message was relayed to Admiral Knox, who had been preparing for this moment since the alien ship was first detected. The Council's combined fleet was already moving into position, though everyone knew it would be like throwing rocks at a mountain. "All commanders, this is Admiral Knox," he broadcast on the military command frequency. "The alien vessel is approaching the Nexus system. We will engage if it shows any hostile intent, but do not attack unless I give the direct order. We must try to protect our people, even if it means sacrificing ourselves." Dr. Kane was working frantically in her laboratory when the alert came through. The alien ship was heading for one of their most populated systems, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. Her analysis of the vessel's design had convinced her that it was built for one purpose: the complete destruction of enemy civilizations. "Computer, show me the weapons analysis again," she said, her voice shaking. The display showed the alien ship's massive gun batteries, each one capable of destroying a city. The ship carried enough firepower to turn entire worlds into lifeless rocks. "Estimated planetary bombardment time for an Earth-class world?" she asked. "Based on observed weapon signatures, complete surface sterilization would require approximately 4 hours, the computer replied in its calm, emotionless voice. 4 hours to destroy billions of lives. Dr. Kane felt sick as she imagined the peaceful worlds of the Nexus system being turned into smoking ruins. The aliens had built a ship designed for genocide, and it was heading straight for some of the most populated planets in Council space on the Retribution. Captain Ross was studying the energy signatures his sensors had detected. They were definitely artificial, but unlike anything in Earth's databases. The pattern suggested advanced technology, possibly even more advanced than humanity's own. "Captain," said Emma, her voice filled with wonder, "I think we have found them." "I think we have found other intelligent life." Ross felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was the moment humanity had dreamed of for centuries, the first contact with an alien civilization. Everything they did in the next few hours could determine the future of both species. "Hayes, reduce speed to 1/4 impulse. We approach. Carefully and peacefully. Emma, prepare the first contact package. If these beings are friendly, we want to show them that humans come in peace." The captain did not know that his ship's reduced speed was being interpreted as a tactical maneuver by the watching aliens. To them, it looked like the massive warship was preparing for an attack run, slowing down to line up its weapons for maximum effect. "Sir," said the communications officer, "I am detecting multiple energy signatures around the alien ship. It looks like they have escorts, smaller vessels that are keeping pace with the main ship." Ross nodded. "That makes sense. If I was exploring unknown space, I would want an escort too. Keep monitoring them, but do not take any aggressive actions. We are here to make friends, not enemies." The human ship continued its approach toward the Nexus system, its crew filled with hope and excitement about meeting their first alien civilization. They had no idea that their peaceful mission was being seen as a prelude to invasion, that their ship's impressive defenses were being interpreted as weapons of conquest. As the distance closed between the human Dreadnought and the Council's core worlds, both sides prepared for what they thought would be a battle that would determine the fate of the galaxy. The humans prepared their first contact protocols, while the aliens prepared to make their last stand against what they saw as unstoppable invaders. The stage was set for a confrontation that would change everything, though neither side yet understood how wrong their assumptions about each other truly were. The moment that would change everything began with a simple course correction. Captain Ross had decided to approach the alien energy signatures from a different angle, one that would allow his ship's sensors to get better readings without appearing threatening. It was a reasonable decision made by a peaceful commander who wanted to make a good first impression. To the Council observers, it looked like the alien Dreadnought was positioning itself for a devastating attack run. "All ships, the alien vessel is moving into attack formation," Commander Thane reported, his voice tight with fear. "It has changed course to approach the Nexus station from the optimal bombardment angle." Admiral Knox received the report aboard his flagship, the battlecruiser Defender. Around him, the largest fleet in Council history was spreading out in a desperate defensive formation. 47 ships from 6 different worlds, representing every major military force in the Alliance. Against the alien Dreadnought, they looked like toys. "This is it," Knox said quietly to his staff. "If we cannot stop them here, the core worlds are doomed." The human ship Retribution continued its approach, completely unaware of the panic it was causing. Captain Ross stood on his bridge, watching the displays with growing excitement. The artificial energy signatures were getting stronger, and his science team was beginning to detect what looked like manufactured structures. "Captain," reported Emma, "I am reading multiple artificial satellites and at least 3 large space stations. This is definitely an advanced civilization." Ross nodded, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. Humanity's first contact with an alien species would be remembered forever. He was determined to make it a moment of hope, not conflict. "All departments, prepare for first contact procedures. I want our universal translator ready, our gift packages prepared, and our weapons powered down. We are going to show these beings that humanity comes in peace." The irony was crushing. As the human captain ordered his weapons offline to demonstrate peaceful intentions, the alien observers saw it as the final preparation for attack. Many warships powered down their energy weapons before firing to avoid detection and the Council. Commanders interpreted the human actions through the lens of their own fears. "Sir," reported the sensor officer on the Defender, "the alien ship has just powered down its primary weapon systems." "They are preparing to fire." Admiral Knox felt his heart sink. The moment he had been dreading was finally here. "All ships, move to intercept. We cannot let them reach the populated worlds." The Council fleet began moving toward the human Dreadnought, their own weapons charging for what they knew would be a hopeless battle. Every captain in the fleet understood that they were probably flying to their deaths, but they were determined to buy time for the civilian populations to evacuate on the Retribution. Lieutenant Commander Hayes was monitoring the approach when his sensors detected the incoming alien ships. "Captain, we have multiple contacts approaching." "It looks like a fleet of some kind," Ross smiled. "Perfect. They are coming to meet us." "Emma, are you ready with the first contact package?" "Ready." "Sir." "Universal mathematics, basic language concepts, and cultural information about humanity. We are prepared to show them that we are peaceful explorers." The human ship slowed to a complete stop, powering down its engines to show that it meant no threat. The crew was excited and nervous, but filled with hope about meeting their first alien neighbors. The Council ship saw the human vessel stop and interpreted it as a battle station being taken. The massive Dreadnought was positioning itself to fight, and its powered-down weapons were simply a tactical deception. "All ships, spread out and prepare for engagement," Admiral Knox ordered. "We attack in 3 minutes." The first sign that something was wrong came when the alien ships began spreading out in what looked like an attack formation. Captain Ross watched with growing concern as the fleet of unknown vessels moved into positions around his ship. "Hayes, are you getting any response to our communication attempts?" he asked. "Nothing, sir. They are not responding to any of our signals. No radio, no laser communications, nothing." Ross felt a chill of worry. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. The alien ships were acting like they were preparing for battle, but humanity had done nothing to provoke them. "Emma, run a full sensor sweep. Are they targeting us?" The science officer worked frantically at her console, her face growing pale as she read the results. "Captain, all of those ships have their weapons charged and aimed at us. They are definitely preparing to attack." Ross could not believe what he was hearing. Why would an alien species immediately assume humans were hostile? They had approached slowly with weapons powered down, broadcasting peaceful intentions on every frequency they could manage. "Red alert," he ordered. "All hands to battle stations. Raise shields and prepare for defensive action." The human ships' defensive systems came online with a subtle hum that the alien sensors immediately detected. To the Council observers, it looked like the massive Dreadnought was finally revealing its true nature. "The alien ship has activated its defensive systems," reported Commander Thane. "Energy signatures are increasing across all their weapon systems." Admiral. Knox made his decision. All ships, attack now. For the sake of our people, we have to try. The Council fleet opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams, plasma cannons, and missile volleys streaked across space toward the human Dreadnought. It was the largest coordinated attack in their history. The combined firepower of their entire civilization focused on a single target. The weapons struck the Retribution's shields and simply vanished. The human ship's defensive systems had been designed to protect against unknown threats, and they absorbed the alien attack without even flickering. "Sir," reported the tactical officer, "we are under attack. Multiple ships are firing on us, but our shields are holding easily." Ross stared at the display in shock. The aliens had attacked without warning, without any attempt at communication. These were not the peaceful neighbors humanity had hoped to find. "Return fire," he ordered reluctantly. "Disable their weapons, but do not destroy them. We still do not know why they attacked us." The Retribution's response was swift and devastating. The human ship's weapons had been designed to fight other dreadnoughts, not the smaller vessels of the Council fleet. Energy beams lanced out with surgical precision, overloading the alien ship's weapon systems and leaving them helpless. In less than 30 seconds, the entire Council fleet was disabled. Not destroyed, but completely helpless, drifting in space with their weapons offline and their shields down. "My God," whispered Captain Ross, "what have we done?" The aftermath of the brief battle left both sides stunned. The Council commanders could not believe they had survived. The alien Dreadnought had demonstrated the ability to disable their entire fleet without breaking a sweat, yet it had not destroyed them. It was a show of power that left no doubt about the aliens' military superiority. "Admiral," reported the communications officer on the Defender, "the alien ship is scanning us. They could finish us off at any moment." Knox nodded grimly. The battle had lasted less than a minute, and his fleet was completely at the mercy of the alien vessel. The enemy had shown incredible restraint by not destroying them outright. But the message was clear. Resistance was futile. On the Retribution, Ross was trying to understand what had just happened. The aliens had attacked without provocation, but humanity had been forced to defend itself. Now both fleets were sitting in space, staring at each other across the void. "Emma, keep trying to establish communication," he ordered. "There has to be some kind of misunderstanding here." The science officer nodded and returned to her console, broadcasting the same peaceful messages that had been ignored before the battle. But now, with the Council fleet disabled and helpless, perhaps the aliens would finally be willing to listen. What neither side realized was that they had just demonstrated the very qualities that would eventually make them friends. The humans had shown incredible restraint in victory, while the aliens had shown incredible courage in defeat. The misunderstanding that had led to conflict would soon lead to something much better, though neither side could imagine it yet. The silence that followed the brief battle was deafening. Admiral Knox sat in his command chair aboard the disabled Defender, staring at the massive alien Dreadnought that had just demonstrated its overwhelming superiority. His fleet was helpless, their weapons offline and their shields down, yet they were still alive. "Sir," whispered his communications officer, "why did they not destroy us?" Knox had been wondering the same thing. The alien ship had the power to vaporize his entire fleet, yet it had chosen to disable them instead. It was not the behavior he expected from a species bent on conquest. "Admiral," came another voice, "we are receiving a transmission from the alien vessel." Knox felt his heart skip a beat. After all this time, the aliens were finally trying to communicate. "Put it through." The main screen flickered to life, showing the image of a strange bipedal creature with pale skin and short dark hair. The alien was wearing what looked like a military uniform, and its expression seemed concerned rather than hostile. "This is Captain Ross of the Earthship Retribution," the creature said in a voice that was surprisingly calm. "We have disabled your weapons to prevent further conflict, but we mean you no harm. We are explorers from the planet Earth, and we came here seeking peaceful contact with other intelligent species." Knox stared at the screen in shock. The alien was speaking their language, though with a strange accent. More importantly, it was talking about peace and exploration, not conquest and destruction. I repeat, the alien captain continued, we are peaceful explorers. We do not understand why you attacked us, but we wish to resolve this misunderstanding without further violence. The admiral looked around his bridge at his confused crew. Everything they had assumed about the aliens was wrong. This was not a warship full of conquering soldiers, but an exploration vessel trying to make peaceful. Contact. Open a channel, Knox ordered. This is Admiral Knox of the Galactic Council Defense Force. We believed you were here to invade our worlds. Your ship is more powerful than anything we have ever seen. Captain Ross appeared puzzled on the screen. Invade? Admiral, we had no idea there was intelligent life in this region. We are on a mission to explore new star systems and search for worlds suitable for human colonization. We built our ship to be heavily defended because we did not know what dangers we might face in unknown space. The truth began to dawn on Knox. The alien ship was not a warship at all, but an exploration vessel built by a species that expected the universe to be hostile. They had constructed their ship like a fortress because they were afraid of what they might find, not because they planned to attack anyone. Captain Ross, Knox said slowly, I believe there has been a terrible misunderstanding. We saw your ship's weapons and armor, and we assumed you were here to conquer us. Ross laughed, a sound that somehow conveyed both humor and relief. Admiral, our weapons are purely defensive. We hope to find peaceful neighbors among the stars, not enemies. Back on the council world of Nexer, Chancellor Voss was listening to the conversation with growing amazement. The crisis that had threatened to destroy their civilization was turning into something completely different. The aliens were not invaders at all, but explorers looking for friends. Open a channel to the fleet, he ordered. I want to speak with both commanders. Moments later, the Chancellor's face appeared on screens throughout the Council fleet and aboard the human ship. His ancient features showed the wisdom of his years as he addressed both species. Captain Ross, Admiral Knox, I am Chancellor Voss of the Galactic Council. What we have witnessed today is a lesson in the dangers of assumption and fear. Both of our peoples acted according to our understanding of the situation, and both were wrong. Ross nodded respectfully. Chancellor, we came here hoping to find new friends among the stars. We never intended to cause fear or conflict. And we saw your mighty ship and assumed the worst, Knox added. We forgot that strength does not always mean aggression, and that those who prepare for war do not always seek it. Dr. Kane, who had been listening from her laboratory, felt a mixture of relief and embarrassment. All her analysis of the alien ship's design had been correct, but her conclusions had been completely wrong. The humans had built their ship for defense because they expected hostility, not because they planned to give it. Captain Ross, she said, joining the conversation, I am Dr. Kane, our expert on alien psychology. Your ship's design suggests that humanity has experienced significant conflict in its history. Ross nodded sadly. Dr. Earth has known too much war. We nearly destroyed ourselves with our conflicts, and we built the retribution to protect us from threats we might encounter in space. We hope to find peace among the stars. And instead, you found us pointing weapons at you, Knox said with regret. Captain, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I apologize for our hostile reception. We acted out of fear and misunderstanding. Ross smiled, and the expression seemed to ease the tension. That had filled the communication channels? Admiral, there is nothing to forgive. In your position, with an unknown warship entering your space, I might have done the same thing. What matters now is that we understand each other. Chancellor Voss leaned forward in his chair, his old eyes bright with possibility. Captain Ross, your people sought the stars looking for new worlds and new friends. The Council has many worlds suitable for colonization, and we have always believed that the galaxy is large enough for all peaceful species to thrive together. Are you offering us worlds, Chancellor? Ross asked, hardly believing what he was hearing. I am offering you something better, Voss replied. I am offering you membership in our alliance. Humanity would be welcome to join the Galactic Council as equal partners in exploring and protecting this region of space. The bridge of the Retribution fell silent as the crew absorbed the magnitude of what they were hearing. They had come, looking for empty worlds to settle, and instead they had found an entire civilization willing to welcome them as friends and allies. "There is just one condition," Dr. Kane added with what might have been humor in her voice. "You must promise not to frighten any more of our monitoring stations with that intimidating ship of yours." Ross laughed again, a sound that was becoming familiar and pleasant to the alien listeners. "Doctor, I think we can manage that. Though I have to ask, what did our ship look like to your sensors?" "Like the end of civilization," Knox replied. "Honestly, Captain, your vessel carries more firepower than our entire combined fleet. When we saw it entering our space, we thought we were witnessing the beginning of an invasion that would destroy everything we had built." Emma, the human science officer, looked up from her console with excitement. "Captain, I am reading incredible biodiversity on the worlds in this system. The Council species have created a truly remarkable civilization, and your ship represents technology that could revolutionize our defensive capabilities," added Commander Thane, who had been listening. From his monitoring station, "Not to conquer, but to protect what we have built together." Ross turned to address his crew. "What do you think? Should we accept the Chancellor's offer?" Lieutenant Commander Hayes spoke for everyone on the bridge. "Sir, this is better than anything we dared hope for. Instead of empty worlds, we have found friends." Chancellor Voss smiled, an expression that translated well across species lines. "Then it is settled. Captain Ross, I formally invite you and your crew to visit our capital world as the first human ambassadors to the Galactic Council. Your ship will serve as humanity's embassy until more of your people arrive." "I accept with honor, Chancellor," Ross replied. "But first, we need to send a message back to Earth. My people need to know that we are not alone in the universe, and that we have found friends among the stars." Dr. Kane was already working at her console, her excitement evident in the speed of her movements. "Captain, we would be honored to help you establish communication with your homeworld. The Council has relay stations that could boost your signal across the vast distances." As the various ships began moving toward the Council's capital system, Admiral Knox reflected on how quickly everything had changed. Hours ago, he had been preparing to die in a hopeless battle against alien invaders. Now he was escorting humanity's first ambassador to a meeting that would change both civilizations forever. "Sir," his communications officer said, "the human ship is requesting permission to dock at the capital station." Permission granted," Knox replied. "And prepare a full honor guard. Captain Ross and his crew deserve a proper welcome." The Retribution, which had been seen as a harbinger of destruction, slowly approached the Council's beautiful capital world. Its massive hull caught the light of the system's star, no longer looking threatening, but instead appearing magnificent and protective. Captain Ross stood on his bridge, watching the alien world grow larger on his screen. Behind him, his crew was busy preparing reports for Earth and gifts for their new alien friends. The mission that had started as a simple exploration had become something far greater. "Captain," Emma said softly, "humanity will never be alone again." Ross nodded, feeling the weight of history and the lightness of hope in equal measure. "No, Emma, we will not. And neither will they. We came here looking for new worlds, but we found something much better. We found family." The great ship that had once inspired terror slowly settled into orbit around the Council's capital world, its weapons silent and its mission transformed. Humanity had reached for the stars and found not just new worlds, but new friends who would help them build a future brighter than anything either species could have achieved alone. In the end, the misunderstanding that had nearly led to war had instead become the foundation for a friendship that would last for generations, proving that even the darkest beginnings can lead to the brightest futures when beings of good will choose understanding over fear.